So believe me, as president, I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gauging on food.
So I was in Dominican.
Salakia, or forgive me. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakah Kwadash. Yahweh is who the world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and there's no God beside them. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for being faithful witnesses to the Holy Spirit, and shalom to the elect, whom the Lord have given ears to hear. I'm the brother Kahan from the GMS New Jersey camp, and I want to get into an article I found, and the article I'll read is pretty much summed up in these two TikToks I want to show you, brothers and few sisters, going into how the current vice president, K.H. Kamala Harris, however she says it, wants price control. And what does that mean? All right, so let's get into it.
So believe me, as president, I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gauging on food.
So I was in the Dominican Republic. I was on my way to a resort. My car needed gas, so I wanted to pay the cheapest gas possible. First gas station was about $4 a gallon. I said, you know what, maybe the next one's cheaper. The next gas, $4 a gallon. 4 months later, same gas, $4 a gallon. Even up to 50 miles away, the price was still $4 a gallon. What does that mean? The government was controlling the price. And when the government controls the price, there's no competition, which means everybody gets the same price. So what does that mean for us? Well, imagine those small businesses. How are they going to stay alive if everybody got the same price? That means small businesses, mom and pop shops are gone because Walmart is going to take over, basically. Walmart and Amazon are going to take over. Only the big markets are going to survive. And even then, it's going to be tough because there's no competition. There's going to be a lot of people going to be off of work. A lot of people are going to lose their business. And price control is just going to crash the economy. Think about that before you think that price control is a good thing. But what do you guys think?
So believe me.
Catherine, I read your piece and I heard you just mention it. The federal ban on price gouging for groceries. You are skeptical of this. Why?
Well, first of all, nobody can explain what price gouging means. It's like that old line about pornography. I know it when I see it, in the sense that what does it mean to have an excessive price or an excessive profit margin? That seems to be shorthand for a price or a profit margin that bugs me. That seems too high. So, it's very hard to pin down what this would actually mean. If you look at the legislation that, as I mentioned, is already in the Senate, led by Senator Warren and Senator Bob Casey and a slew of others, the particular way that this is written, which is likely to be the template for any proposal that Harris would eventually embrace, is especially bad in that it just bans excessive prices, grossly excessive profit margins, and says that the Federal Trade Commission can use any metric it deems appropriate to decide what that would mean, which basically says, like, it's not going to be markets, it's not going to be supply and demand that's determining how much your grocery store charges you for milk or for eggs. It's going to be some bureaucrat in DC, which seems like totally unworkable, first of all, for the FTC to be deciding like how much Kroger charges for eggs in Michigan. But it also would be very bad for markets. We've seen this kind of thing tried in lots of other countries before: Venezuela, Argentina, the Soviet Union, etc. It leads to shortages. It leads to black markets. Plenty of uncertainty. And beyond that, the specific way this bill is written might actually increase prices because of some of the other language in it. Things like requiring public companies to disclose in their quarterly reports, their quarterly earnings reports, how they're setting prices, which is a great way to help them collude, which normally we don't want them to do. So anyway, the devil's in the details, I guess, for that bill, but it's really hard for me to imagine any form of legislation that preserves the spirit of what she's proposing that would not be at best do nothing, at worst cause a lot of harm.
Catherine.
Now, before I continue, let me grab a precept. Second Edras chapter 15 verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. Okay? And I wanted to stop there because, what you see that's happening in America, if you keep your eyes peeled on the world, as I didn't, it's a spirit that I actually played that first video. My original purpose for playing the first video with a guy who was saying that he was coming from DR was just to give understanding on the consequences of price control. However, as he mentioned, even, he came from DR, and, it comes to my attention now, that this will happen all over the world, and it's prophetic as far as price gouging and just different things that will happen to destroy that economy. You see, remember, we always go into prophecy, right? Because the grand scheme or the end of the line is essentially prophecy. And the major prophecy, all right, that this world is heading to, no matter where you are, if you're Ireland, Dominican Republic, South Africa, the scriptures say he causeth all. All right, we always bring it out. Revelation 13 and 14 on down. He causeth all. When you go into that word cause, Revelation chapter 13, verse 14. And we sound like a broken record because it's happening. All right. That word cause meaning poieo. It says to make, to construct, form, produce, fashion, to be the authors of. Right? He causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And you know that to be the RFID chip. Right? Now, why would why would I care about another way of paying if the method of payment I'm using already works? All right? Because what's happening now is this devil is pretty much, again, causing the world, all right, to causing economies to be destroyed so that he can build it again, all right, using, fucking Satan, boy. This fucking car right in front of me with these bright ass high beams. Anyway, as I was saying, this devil's creating things to destroy the economy, destroy life as we know it. All right. There's even talks of how we already know that. I mean, they want to do away with gas appliances, gas cars, and bring in electric appliances like stoves, stove tops, and electric cars. All right. So for that, gas is going to be very expensive soon enough to where, it looks good, again, to control prices because things are so very expensive. All right, but where is it heading? It's heading to a destroyed economy and a destroyed life for you. As it is written, money is a defense, and this devil wants to break down your defense, right? So that he can easily be able to mark you, be able to chip you. All right? Come with those gifts. Come with his new plans for the world. All right. And if you don't believe it, well, that's on you. But anyway, let me grab this article now. So it says, from price control to mass starvation, from taxes to spending, Kamala is the most left-wing major party candidate since George McGovern, who proposed a universal basic income in 1972 and went on to win a single state. I gotta look into that. But her most harebrained scheme so far has been price controls, where she's to the left of McGovern, threatening to punish grocery stores for daring to charge more than their costs. In fact, grocery stores make 1 to 2 pennies on the dollar, meaning they have to pass along costs that come straight from the Washington money printer. That means price controls would, in short, break food. It says price controls always fail. In a recent video, I mentioned how price controls have been tried many times. As the girl from CNN, she brought out various examples. And each time they failed so spectacularly, they were repealed. After much pain, suffering, and empty shelves, when France tried, they got a black market that actually did price gouge. Even Venezuela repealed price controls in 2016 after food shortages and nationwide riots. But what do price controls look like in reality? For that, I go to a great thread by Robert Sterling, a former M&A executive at one of the biggest food producers in America. Robert walks us through a 13-step process from grocery price controls to widespread food shortages, something we haven't seen in this country since the Great Depression. And that word has been said a whole lot these past year. The Great Depression, we're in a depression. Hell, we passed a recession, we in a depression. When FDR also imposed price controls. Now it says stage 1, bankrupt grocers. So first, the government announces grocery stores can't raise prices even though inflation continues, courtesy of the Fed and Wall Street. That means their costs keep going up, so those pennies of profit turn into losses. Like any businesses that's losing money, they shut down. Of course, not all grocery stores are created equal. Small ones lack economies of scale, while rich people buy high margin vegetables and expensive cuts. The poor buy low margin packaged foods. So the small stores and the low income stores go first. Yet, you get food deserts, food deserts, as people in urban centers or rural areas have to drive miles or take multiple buses. All right. But again, if, you start price gouging on food and on gas, how do people in those rural or those urban areas, going to be able to go to these further places? All right. Because again, as mentioned in the previous videos, these businesses or these gas stations, they're going to go out of business too. All right, because we're reading about grocery stores, but the same dynamic tells true for all businesses. So even gas stations are going to go out of business. It says you get food deserts as people in urban centers or rural areas have to drive miles or take multiple buses to find food. And ironically, you get more concentration as the little guys drop out. The survivors increasingly aren't even selling food. They shift shelf space to things that aren't price controlled: clothing, furniture, supplements. You know, and that's heavy in itself because as brothers always say, and that's actually biblical history, that you're going to be eating non-perishable items. You're going to be eating the leather off your couch, the leather on your Jordans, right? That's going to be your new food. So it says clothing, furniture, and supplements. Grocery stores start to look more like a dollar store with a little food and a lot of junk. As cities clear of food, you'd need police patrolling parking lots and armed escorts on delivery trucks. Perhaps you could even have government-run groceries like Chicago just announced. You could look into that. This is the only way to save any grocery stores is to price control their costs, meaning food producers like Kraft, Heinz, Tyson, Hormel. Of course, again, Kraft's costs aren't being controlled. Their ingredients, wages, parts, and electricity, so now they're losing money. Like grocers, they wind down, closing marginal factories and running out equipment, then not replacing it. And if they got to close factories, guess what's going to happen to you? You're going to lose your job, which a lot of these factories, you know, they provide jobs, especially to the urban, the poor, and a lot of these, southern or Midwest states. As food producers downsize or go under, now you start getting actual shortages. And the only solution, once again, is price control the next level down, farmers. Stage 3, bankrupt farmers. Which brings us to the final stage, because remember, farmers too are now forced to sell at a low price. Yet their inputs like fertilizer or tractors are still going up. They too go under. And remember the great quote by Klaus Schwab himself: you will own nothing and be happy. All right? So you're systematically being robbed. Does not the scriptures say? We got to remember these scriptures, man. Let me see. Is it in 15? Probably 16, where it says, I think I brought this out. Let me see. Anyway, the scriptures say to pretty much for us to not set our affection on the things on the earth. That's Matthew 6. Where thieves cannot break through nor steal. All right. And it's reiterated through the prophet Edras, where it says, 2nd Esdras 16 and 40. 41 I'll start at. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. All right. And pretty much we're all feeling a squeeze, and a squeeze is going to get a lot tighter. And you know, these jakes that they got the bag, they didn't came up in these previous years, they're going to lose too. All right. The Most High is bringing Jacob's trouble. All right. And when you are in trouble, right, like say with your parents or whatever, that means fun time is over. You take away the game, they take away things that, because you don't do what they like, they take away things that you like. And that's what the Lord is doing. Surely, because you don't follow him, all right, and serve him with all meekness and readiness of mind, he's going to take away from you, all right? He's pretty much going to put you in timeout. But in that timeout, in this time of Jacob's trouble, it's going to be real, it's not going to be fun. It's going to be very scary, very trying times. But let me finish off this article now. It says, they too go under. You are now full Venezuela, with the only alternative to starvation, a complete government takeover of the food supply, centrally planned from farmer to grocer. As Sterling puts it, the government will struggle to operate one of the most complex industries on the planet. The entire food supply chain starts imploding as in starvation. What's next? It's very unlikely we'll get to the point of starvation, for the simple reason that at some point the frog boils and the voters or rioters share their thoughts with policymakers. All right, and Lord's prophecy says different. The Lord said, I'll grab that. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world. Right? So it's not of us. The Lord is going to bring plagues upon the world. And amongst these plagues are what? Sword. Famine. And you should all know what a famine is. All right? It means hunger. Most High is going to bring a famine. He's going to bring starvation. It says, what's next? It's very unlikely we'll get to the point of starvation. All right. So you say, for the simple reason that at some point the frog boils and the voters or rioters share their thoughts with policymakers. That's exactly why price controls fell from France to Venezuela. Having said, we managed it before under FDR. And unfortunately, if the morons running Kamala's brain trust are dumb enough to price controls, they're dumb enough for a whole lot more. All right, and let's finish off right here. 2nd Ezra chapter 16 verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And with that, shalom to the elect.